So, picture this. It's December 29th, 2025. Former heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua is just weeks off a massive win. And then his name is suddenly all over the headlines for a reason nobody, and I mean nobody, could have seen coming. He was in a devastating car crash in Nigeria. And it's a story of survival, of heartbreak, and of a future that's now completely up in the air. Let's just start right here with this chilling account from an eyewitness who spoke to Nigeria's Punch newspaper. This one quote, man, it just cuts right to the bone and tells you everything you need to know about the gravity of what happened on that highway. All right, so first up, let's get into the core of the event itself. Joshua's brush with death. The first reports that started trickling in were just jarring. You see the name Anthony Joshua and deadly car crash in the same sentence. He was lucky, incredibly lucky, to get away with what officials called minor injuries. But as we're about to see, the outcome was far, far more tragic for others who were in that car with him. So, what do we actually know about what happened? How did this all go down? Let's dig into the anatomy of the crash. Okay, so things happened fast, really fast. We're talking just after 11 in the morning, the Lexus SUV that Joshua's in collides with a truck. And what's really crucial here is that within minutes, eyewitnesses, just regular people on the road, were rushing to help, trying to rescue people even before the official first responders could get there. Let's really paint a picture of the scene. We're on a busy expressway outside of Lagos. Joshua is in a Lexus SUV, and it's part of a small two-car convoy. But look at this last detail, because it turns out to be absolutely critical. His position. He was one of 4 people in that SUV, sitting in the back, right behind the driver. All right, so beyond the logistics and the mechanics of the crash, we have to talk about the human cost, the absolutely tragic outcome. 2. That's the number of fatalities confirmed right there on the scene. And when you look at who was lost, it's just devastating. The person in the front passenger seat and the person sitting right next to Anthony Joshua in the back, they were both killed. Now, Joshua himself had minor injuries, but then you see that 2 others were rescued completely unharmed. It's just a chilling reminder that in a crash like this, survival can literally be a matter of inches. Now, this is where things get complicated. As investigators started trying to piece together what happened, 2 very different official stories started to emerge about what caused this crash. So on one side, you have the Ogun State Police. They claimed it was a mechanical failure, a burst tire that caused the driver to lose control. But then you have the Federal Road Safety Corps, which is the main agency for this stuff in Nigeria. And they're saying, nope, this was driver error, plain and simple, overspeeding and a bad overtake. These aren't just minor differences in opinion, they're 2 completely different narratives, and it raises a lot of questions. So, while the officials were debating the cause, the news itself just exploded. It went global, sparking this massive wave of shock and concern from every corner of the world. You can really feel that sense of chaos and uncertainty in these words from his promoter, Eddie Hearn. He's basically trying to calm everyone down, saying, hey, let's not jump to conclusions based on these crazy images we're all seeing online. It shows you that even his own inner circle was scrambling for good information in those first few hours. And the public reaction was explosive. A huge reason why? This video started circulating online. It's shaky, it's raw, and it shows a clearly dazed Joshua being helped away from the wreck. I mean, that's going to go viral. And it did. Instantly, social media was just flooded with messages, people in shock, people relieved he survived, and of course, condolences for those who didn't. And the context that he was there on holiday, celebrating his recent win, it just made the whole thing feel even more painful. So after all the chaos and the initial shock starts to fade, the really big question starts to form. What's next? What is the road ahead for Anthony Joshua? And the timing of this is just, wow. It could not have been more jarring. He was on top of the world, right? Less than 2 weeks after a huge victory over Jake Paul, and he's already got another massive fight booked for February. And then, in an instant, the entire conversation shifts. It's not about his next opponent anymore. It's about whether he can or even should ever step back into the ring. And that's really where this story leaves us. It leaves us with this incredibly heavy question. Because, the physical injuries, the cuts, the bruises, those will heal. But the psychological trauma of surviving an accident that killed the people sitting right next to you, that is a completely different kind of fight. It's one that Anthony Joshua will have to face alone, long after the headlines have faded and the world has moved on.